Good morning and good day, everybody. Welcome back to Centize Unity Through Hypnosis. Can you believe this is episode 14 already? OMG. I am so freaking excited for today's episode. This week has been packed full of so much joy, so much love, and so much excitement that I feel like I am going to burst. It's been such an amazing week, and I am truly thankful that you all are here listening and I get to share some incredible stuff that has been going on this week. So, first and foremost, dragons, unicorns, mermaids, and fairies all are real. I know. I'm like so freaking excited. Okay. Because listen. This week has been so fun. So fun. And it started off with this beautiful soul coming in for a dragon healing session. And she shows up, and I could sense her energy was incredible. Like just shining so bright, full of love, full of joy, just shining so brightly. And I'm talking with her, and I can't help but wonder while we're talking, like, what are you? Who are you? And she had found me on TikTok, and she told me that she was a unicorn. And most people think it's metaphorically speaking that she's a unicorn. But I am telling you, if I had ever envisioned or thought what a unicorn would be like, it was her. And what was so funny was when we were talking, and right after she told me that, she refers to herself as a unicorn and has always felt like, not that she was actually a unicorn, but like just the persona of a unicorn, just the rainbows and the glitter and the sparkles and everything. I get these visuals in my head that pop in when people tell me things. And what I kept seeing when she was talking was this little baby unicorn. And it was white unicorn with a rainbow horn. And it was like this little, because she was a little shy at first, like this shy little unicorn, like full of excitement and joy, like wanting to burst open and just like glitter coming out of its unicorn horn. And it was just so freaking cute. And although she might think it's just metaphorically speaking, I know that when we have our QHHT session, I'm almost sure her subconscious is going to come back and say, yes, she's got some unicorn past life or unicorn DNA, something, because this woman she sparkles like none other. I have never seen someone so radiant and so beautiful. And I'm telling you, if I could see her aura, it would be full of glitter and sparkles and just so great. And the irony of it is she's also an author, and she brought a book with her. And her book is called What to Do When Your Best Friend is a Unicorn. Like, OMG. This book is so freaking cute. She ended up giving me her copy and signed it. Like, I'm just over the freaking moon. And as I've gotten to know her some more, I just continue to be amazed and blown away by her joy, by her light, by her kindness. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I fully believe that she is a unicorn or was a unicorn at some point and has carried that momentum forward into this life, because I've never met anyone quite like her. And she is special. You know, we're all special in our own way, but her light is something else. And I am so excited to get to know her better and to help her share her light with the world, because that's what's needed right now, right? Is we all have love and we all have authenticity at the core of our own energy, and it is so important more now than ever to share that light with the world so we can anchor in and help guide people back to who they are, and to remember that love is all there is. So it's just so beautiful to meet my very first unicorn. Oh my gosh. I was so excited when I got home from the session and was like, I walked into the house and I was like, babe, unicorns are real. This is literally what I said. And Suresh is no way. And I was like, yes, I met my first unicorn. And you know what's so funny about that is I always joke with my friends that one day, I always say this, one day I'm going to be riding my unicorn up and down my property, up and down the road, you know, wherever I'm going, I'm going to be riding my unicorn. And then she shows up and she's a freaking unicorn, like, OMG. I was like, are you my unicorn? Like, ugh, this is so cool. It was so amazing. So that was the start of my week, right? So I meet a unicorn. And then I have a virtual QHHT session. And well, not QHHT, past life regression, you know, because we're not allowed to call it QHHT. And if you've taken the classes, you know why. Anyways, so I did a virtual past life regression on a friend of mine. And we've done this numerous times. And it had been a while. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's travel. Let's see where we go. You know, there were some questions, some further questions she had, and some healing. And we get into her past life regression, and we're at a tree, at a beautiful tree, and she can't really figure out where she's at. She kind of feels like she's on her back on the ground looking up at the tree. And I was like, okay. So we were kind of thinking maybe she was part of the tree. And so she felt stuck. We weren't really getting anywhere. So we like moved on from there, and we went to some other lives. And then the last life, we ended up back at that same tree, but in a different spot. This time, she has embodied herself from this lifetime. And you'll never believe what she was. A freaking fairy. It was so cool. I was like, you're a what? At first, I thought she said she was seeing flowers and berries. And I was like, okay, flowers and berries. And then she said, no, fairies. I was like, fairies? And I'm thinking like fairies with an F. And she's like, I was like, oh my gosh, just tell me, are you like flying right now? And she's like, yes. I'm like, tell me what that feels like to be flying. She's freedom. Oh my gosh. I was like, what do you look like? She's, I'm beautiful. But I feel like I'm bitchy and enthusiastic. Oh, but no, bitchy and mischievous. Pardon me. And I was laughing. It was so cute. But I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So then I had a question. I was like, well, how old do you think you are? Because, you know, we know as humans that our time is not like anything else. Like our time is so irrelevant and isn't real. But I was like, how old do you think you are? And she said, I'm somewhere between 300 and 500 years old. And that is young. And then she said, it's comparable to someone being in their 20s in the human world. I was like, holy shit. That is incredible. Like 300 to 500 years old. That's just like to wrap my head around that is It's impossible because we think in such linear terms. So it could literally be anything. But if we thought about it in linear terms, 300 to 500 years is a long freaking time. So that was so cool. I was like, a fairy? I was like, yes. I mean, I always suspected, even from a young age, that fairies were real. They came from somewhere. Everything that we see in our depiction of whatever in life came from somewhere, was started from something. So there's an origin to everything, right? But I always believed that fairies were real. Deep in the woods, we just can't see them on another dimension, right? So I always suspected that they were real. And it just blew my mind when I found out that, we're in this life and she's a freaking fairy. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. So freaking cool. It was amazing. I loved it. And I know she did too. And it was incredible. And, these are the moments that I love having the opportunity to share with these clients because they're such empowering and loving sessions. That's my goal, is to provide that safe space for people to feel comfortable enough to go deep enough to travel, to see the things that they want to see. Now, I can't direct them to where they want to go, right? Because it's entirely up to your subconscious. Your subconscious knows exactly where you need to go at all times to learn the lessons you need to learn to move forward in this life. But whenever we have those opportunities where, someone just is a fairy, it's like, it's incredible. It's a gift. It's a gift. I treat everything like a gift. And if you do that, you continue to open up gifts. And that's what this week has been, is gifts. And being able to hear that she was a fairy and that she got to see that in her session was, oh, incredible. And, I might not be able to see it, but being able to be there and to listen to her speak about it is the biggest blessing and gift of it all. Just being able to share that experience is powerful. So fairies and unicorns, and we all know that I am, I've got draconian DNA, so I'm dragon. So dragons are real. And what's so funny about that, speaking of dragons, is that I was never ever drawn to dragons when I was young. Like nothing really, besides Pokemon, besides my favorite Pokemon being Charizard, the fire dragon. I wasn't really drawn to a whole lot of dragon things. And it's so funny now to see, I want everything dragon. I have a dragon notebook. I have dragon earrings. I've got dragon bracelets. Now I need a dragon necklace. I want to get a dragon tattoo. So it's more about deepening the connection to who I am and what I'm here to do. So it's just been a wonderful week. So then on top of the unicorn and then the fairy, so then Saturday we had a group hypnosis session. And what that is it's people come and I create a guided meditation specific for the week. And last week we did it on embodied abundance. And I do the guided meditation. And while I'm speaking the guided meditation to everyone, my business partner does Reiki. So she beams Reiki into them the entire hour. So you get a guided meditation and Reiki at the same time, which is a heck of a deal, I think. But everyone always has a magical experience. Well, I have this one girl that has been coming for several sessions now. It was her third session. She shared with me that she has seen the Triton and mermaids, and she feels like she's got some ties to mermaids. And I was like, oh, that is so fascinating. I was like, yes. Now, mermaids, I always believed were real too. Okay. There's just something about them that has always struck to me like mermaids are real. Right. And what was really cool is that I was doing the guided meditation, and there was a part in the meditation where we get to a river where they have to stick their hands in the river, release all limitations, all limiting beliefs, and then they have to sit by the river. And as I was sitting reading the meditation, and as I got to that part, I looked up and I looked at her. And when I looked at her, I saw her sitting on the embankment in her full mermaid form, flipping her fin up and down out of the water, sitting on the embankment, flipping her fin. I just smiled and I was like, OMG, please tell me she was seeing the same thing I was seeing. And of course, I've got to stay in a very melodic tone to keep them deep into that meditation so they're seeing everything that they need to see. So I was like so excited, and I don't even think we were halfway through at that point, but we got out of the meditation and ended, and I give them about 5 to 10 minutes to write down everything that they saw. And I said to her, I said, please tell me you saw yourself as a mermaid. And she says, no. She says, this time I saw an owl. And I was like, oh. So then I had to tell her what I saw. So it was like so cool to be able to just do that. And that happens to me, but not as often as one might think. But it usually does when there's some truth. There's some deep truth. And so when my client had come in for the dragon healing session and was talking, and I could visualize and see her as a unicorn. And then this lady I could see as a mermaid. Like, it's such a mystical and magical week, my friends. It was incredible. I feel so lucky and so blessed that I get to do what it is that I get to do, and I get to share these experiences with these people. And some people, they will hear these things about themselves and not believe it. They'll be like, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then they'll come out to find out later, after they've deepened their connection to their self, and realize that it's always been true, that the answers and the truth has always been within them. It was just separating their conscious mind to believe in the things that we've always been made to believe that aren't real, to be real. What a magical world. We truly, truly live in a magical world. And as we slowly start to continue to remember, our journeys expand and our journeys become more fun, in my opinion, right? Because the more you drop away those limiting beliefs and those fears and what society has conditioned you to believe, once you remove those filters, your blind spots go away. Reality becomes more real for you and your eyes, and you start to remember the things that you had forgotten. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Did I think even last week that I would have a week where I met a unicorn, a mermaid, and a fairy all in the same week? No. No. But I try to live very present in the moment every single day. I do have a calendar where I have my week planned out, but I try not to live in the future, and I try not to live in the past. I try to be very present and to just be thankful and show gratitude for every single thing that I have, all that I am, the water I drink, the food I eat, the coffee I drink, everything. Show gratitude for it. Because when you show gratitude for the things that you already have, you're showing love, and you're showing compassion, and you're showing empathy, and you're staying present in the moment and opening yourself up to the abundance, the infinite flow of abundance that surrounds you already. Because when you're grateful for what you already have, you're not reaching for something you don't have. Because when you try to force the outcome, when you try to have a set expectation of what you expect to receive or what you think you should receive, you actually do quite the opposite. You remove yourself from receiving. You should always follow your highest excitement with no expectation of the outcome. You just have to flow with the universe and allow what will be to be. Because that's the most important thing. As you remember and you awaken and learn that time is irrelevant, then being present is the only important thing. And being present in the moment and understanding that, gosh, there's life and there's love and everything. Even doing a simple task that I'm about to do, honestly, is sit outside in the freaking cold in my blanket hoodie, my beanie, and my coffee, and just sitting outside, journaling, allowing the sun to shine directly on me and absorb the sun. Do you know how much joy I get from that simple act? That's the important part, is finding your joy in every single moment, regardless of what it is. Be joyous, be humble, and be kind. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That's what we need to do. And I thank you so much for listening. And I was so excited to share this. I could not wait. It was just such an amazing week. And I knew there was a reason why I had waited one more day to record this podcast episode. And I'm so glad I did, because it is perfection. And I'm so excited for it. Anyways, I love you all. I thank you so much for listening. And I hope you have the absolute best day ever, because you truly deserve it always. And I love you. Have a wonderful day.